Nope.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion, to have a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item number 3 is new business. Vote on the training February 10th meeting.
And I'll let Mr. Hamel speak about that.
Sure, talked about it last meeting when we're going through subdivision regulations, that could also serve as a training opportunity. So now this is just formally recognizing that as training and voting how much time it is for the folks who attended. So, credited, an hour in session or?
Yeah, well, we had probably 40 minutes total training.
I think so.
Yes.
So it's just basically a motion to recognize subdivision regulation discussion from that date as training for those who were present. So it counts against the 4 hours of training every
Okay.
planning commissioner.
So we get 40 minutes, or do you round? How does that work? I mean, do you do an hour? Because we crammed a lot in, but I know the time span, but, we did a lot in that 40 minutes, but, that's entirely, however, I don't want to do anything that we, so I didn't know how that worked.
I no longer have the minutes, so I don't know, on my,
On your phone to see
Yes,
how
I-
long?
so I
Well,
don't know
she's
how
probably
long
got it. Do you get rid of those?
Oh, no, I keep them, they're all
Okay.
uploaded online, the training. I think you're probably right, it was probably about 40 minutes, and when I've seen continuing education, they usually, that would be 2/3, so like 0.66 of an hour or something like that. I mean, that's.
We can check can you not check and make sure we can actually check with MTS or to see what they do, what's the government regulations for that? If that's okay,
It's
just
sort of
see,
a minute for minute thing. I think 45 might be a safe.
45 minutes,
around.
yeah. But, we can check, make sure, can't we, Jeff?
Yes.
Okay, we'll make sure, because we want to get our time in, but we don't want to get more than we've got going for us. Okay, so I make a motion to vote on the February 10th meeting for the training for the subdivision regulation. Do I have a motion?
second. Oh, well,
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Dart, do I have a second? Second by Miss Easter. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
so did Joe make the motion?
Yes, he did. Okay, and our old business is to update subdivision regulations. Okay,
So just following up on a couple things from last meeting too. I know there's a little question about karst features, so just handed out a little bit of material on karst in case that's helpful.
okay,
And what a lot of places will do is they'll say there's certain lots, like they either have steep slopes, not as big an issue here in Dover, but karst might be a little bigger issue. So if there's a lot with a karst feature on it, that it's noted on the plat with an asterisk. And part of the reason for some of the karst concerns are karst can create a sinkhole that could a foundation or some other thing could be impacted by it. Also, that's a quick way to get the groundwater, so it's easier for pollution. So and there are some ways to remediate these lots. So just by having that requirement on the preliminary plat, the developers recognizing, hey, these are karst lots, maybe they've been remediated, but that way there's clarity to any future buyer that they can go to those plats and see it. And also, from the city's perspective, hey, these lots need a little more attention because of the karst. So just passing that along.
okay.
One of the other questions, and so the two things there, this is just, a fact sheet from U.S. Geological Society, and then this just gives a sense for where the karst areas are in Tennessee. One of the other questions came up last month was about spread, and I apologize, I'm doing everyone's optometrist, adding some work to them, sorry. One of the questions was about regulations on the square footage distinction between lots. So what I just wanted to do, I just went ahead and picked 4 different communities here. 3 are by one of the big production builders, 1 is by a local builder. This was going through pretty quickly. And just pulling from the website, just to give you a sense of the spread that might be seen in a typical subdivision. So right over here, Clarksville, the Oaks, Lennar is advertising homes as small as 1,833 square feet all the way up to 3,240 square feet. And
In the same subdivision?
Ross Farms, another one nearby, they're advertising anywhere from 1673 to 2769.
But they're all kind of built on the same, they kind of look so similar, even though they're smaller. The ones at the Ross Farms doesn't, but the Oaks, the Lenore Oaks, they all look the same, actually. I mean, you know, they have so much, you wouldn't probably be able to tell they're any small, you know, that would be that much difference, because they look so similar. But then the ones at the bottom, you could, to me, there would be a much difference in that.
Well, they have 3-car garages on all those too.
They do.
And
That's so nice.
so the sort of two factors that drive that differential in size. So one of them is market, so trying to have a spread of homes, so you can see, spread of price range from just under, by $10, $400 grand,
Yeah.
all the way up to $550. So that gives them a chance to market different price points. And then the other thing too is, within the subdivision, you're gonna have some lots that are a little narrower or that sort of thing. So by having these different models, a lot of times developers will do a lot fit matrix where they'll go through and they'll say, all right, on this slot, you can put these 3 models, on this slot, only this one model, on this slot, any of them. So that's why from the developer standpoint, a lot of times you'll see a pretty good spread in house size. So I have a third one there from Lenore, it just was easy to go on the website. And that's just 10 lots, and even within those 10 lots, you'll see a spread from about 2,400 to almost 3,600 square feet. And then just to find a local builder, Hawkins Homes in Cherry Fields, you don't see as big a spread there, but still, 1,200 to 2,100, so homes almost twice the size. So as the Planning Commission is thinking about size disparity in subdivision regulations, just wanted to point out a little bit what some of those market standards might look like.
Thank you.
Cool.
That's really neat.
And that, I don't know, one of the questions was curb and gutter, and I think, saving the best for last, but just want to highlight proposed change 20. So right now, the subdivision regulations say when required by the Planning Commission. So just the suggestion there, if y'all feel good about this, would be the developer for any subdivision that has public or private roads. So someone's coming in and they've got one lot that they're breaking into 3, but there are no new roads, so they're not responsible for curb and gutter. But if someone's coming in, putting in 20 homes, for instance, and they have to add new roads that's going to become public or new roads that's going to become private, at that point, that'd be the curb and gutter.
I really think they need to have curb and gutters.
And then, have the adjustment on the gate language too that we can look at as well. And then the other thing too, talking a little about the subdivision regulation process, and obviously there's a lot here to digest, but one thing you may want to think a little bit about too is planned unit developments. There's a little bit of language in the zoning ordinance, but there's no process spelled out. So that may be something to keep in the back of the mind. Depending on new development coming in, a lot of times it'll be a simple, straightforward subdivision regulation, come up with a plat, take 10 acres and chop it up into 20 lots essentially. But there may be some questions about a planned unit development, and that maybe that's the sequel to subdivision regulations, is thinking about adding in some language in the zoning ordinance that would cover planned unit development. And just to make sure we're on the same page, so let's say there's a minimum lot size of 1 acre, and you have 100 acres, then you have to find 1 acre for each of those homes, so that 100 acres, maybe you're able to fit 70 homes on there. So with the PUD process, it would say, instead of us having to create those 71 acre lots, what if we put 70 onto half-acre lots, and then that would leave an additional, just trying to use round numbers, let's say that means that we could have maybe 30 acres of open space where there could be like a creek that's preserved, or there could be some woods that are kept, that sort of thing. From the developer standpoint, the positive is they're not having to put in those extra streets or not having to put in that extra water sewer, so it saves the developer. And then sometimes it can do things like preserving some open spaces, that's a different process for the city, where we go not only before the planning commission, but also in front of the board of mayor and aldermen. And a lot of times, that's where there's a lot more negotiation that goes on, where it's, hey, you're gonna put all these homes in, we wanted to see you put a tot lot in, or we wanna have you do these things so there's active recreation within the community. So I don't mean to jump ahead, but that may be something to think about once planning commission works through the subdivision regulation. Apologize to throw a few things at you at the start, I just wanted to make sure this guy
I
covered.
think it's great,
Yeah.
because, you know, we don't know. That's not our expertise, that's yours.
You know, we don't have any subdivisions in town, so we don't really have anything to base it on.
Right.
This will be our first as far as, other than where the condos were on Rose Drive. That's all we've actually had in town. So this is all gonna be new. So whatever information you can provide us, that's great. We appreciate it.
And then what we're just trying to do is break these down into different changes, and I recognize, it sounds like maybe next month will be another discussion, maybe that's the time to actually do some voting, but that way it's, you know, maybe, hey, we like 1 through 5, but 6 through 8, we're not sure on, and then 11 and 18, hey, we need to make some changes on those. So just trying to make it so that hopefully it's almost like a little menu of, these are the ones we like, these are the ones that need change, and these are the ones we don't like, so.
I don't know about anybody else, but, you know, I've went through subdivisions, but I'm actually looking for the one I'm going to. So I don't actually, per se, look on, you know, to make sure, but this one at the top, I'm impressed with it, because even though they're different sizes, they still have the same, look about them that makes them look very, very unique, very nice, I think. Just my opinion.
I've never driven into Cherry Fields, but I've watched them
Mhm.
build them. And there's another one down there that way.
Now Ross Farms is pretty, but none of the houses look even similar. Some of them look really choppy, you know, kind of real, you know, and then some of them look long and they look, you know. But the one at the top's really nice. I'm very impressed with it. It looks very nice.
Well, that is another thing about the PUD process. A lot of times architecture can be part of that discussion too.
Right,
You know, where
right.
the developers submit elevations, and
Mhm.
there'd be some push back and forth on how much brick and that sort of thing. But a little more freedom to do that within the PUD process than within the actual subdivision process.
And then down here at Hawkins Homes, I know they don't have any pictures, but it starts at 1214 and goes to 2109. So, but depending on how they're built, they could still look really, really nice.
And now say if they set a standard of square footage, you know, I'm just throwing numbers, say it's 1,200 or 2,400 square foot. But then the developer has like 2 lots that he can only put a 1,000-foot square foot. Would that have to go back before them to get a, you see what I'm saying? I mean, he may have 2 small lots that he can't.
Yeah.
Would he have to come and get I don't want to call it a variance?
Well, and if it's a regulations and a subdivision regulations, it is a variance and it goes before the planning commission.
I would think a contractor would know how much they could, when they start dividing that land, that property, they would know how many
Yeah.
square feet, and they wouldn't get themselves in that pinch. I would hope they would be, you know, have enough experience that they would know how to do that.
Yeah.
And a lot of the
I mean, I see where you're saying, Jeff, but I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
Well, I'm thinking there may be some
an
lots that when
experience.
they, you know, the way they design it out, you may have a lot that's up here on top of the hill. You see what I'm saying, that they can't really do anything with unless they do a smaller house. is what
And if they
it-
put cul-de-sacs in, sometimes that kind
Right,
of.
yeah,
screws
something
up.
like that, you know.
Do a tiny home.
Yeah, when you hear the words.
Okay, all right. So is there anything else that, so you're gonna bring that back to us next month to vote on? Okay, okay. Has anybody got anything they'd like to say or any comments?
Great information.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Sharp, have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 We're adjourned.